Hello everyone. Story for today is The Elves and the Shoemaker. Once upon a time, there was a poor old shoemaker who lived with his old wife. The old man made excellent shoes and worked very diligently, but even so, he could not earn enough money to support himself and his family. He became so poor that he could not even afford to buy the leather required to make the shoes. Finally, he was left with the only enough and material to make one last pair of shoes. He cut them out with care and kept the leather pieces on his workbench so that he could sew them together the following morning. His wife was very worried and asked him, "What will happen to us? The closets are bare and we have no firewood. Even our last candle has burnt away."
"Don't you worry," said the shoemaker. "Things will work out for us. I will finish these shoes tomorrow morning and someone will buy them."
He cut out the leather for shoes and then went to bed, thinking that he would start working first thing in the morning. The very next morning, the shoemaker woke up early and went down to his workshop. On his workbench, he found an exquisite pair of shoes. They had very small, uneven stitches, formed so perfectly that he knew he couldn't have made a better pair of shoes himself. Upon close examination, the shoemaker could make out that the shoes proved to be of a very pieces of leather he had set out the night before on the bench. The shoemaker called out to his wife to come and looked at the wonderful shoes. She was as amazed as he was. "Who could have made these wonderful shoes?" she asked. They immediately put that fine pair of shoes in the window and drew the blinds back down. "Who in the world could have done this for us?" the shoemaker asked himself. Even before he could think of an answer, a wealthy man strode into his shop and bought the shoes for a very fancy price. The shoemaker was ecstatic and immediately went out and purchased plenty of food for his family and some more leather. That evening, he cut out 2 pairs of shoes and laid all the pieces on the bench so that he could sew them the next day. Then he went upstairs to enjoy a good meal with his wife. "My goodness!" the shoemaker cried the next morning when he found 2 pair of beautifully finished shoes on his workbench. "Who could make these fine shoes, and that too so quickly?" He displayed them in his shop window, and before long, some rich people came in and paid a great deal of money for them. The shoemaker went right out and bought even more leather this time. This continued for many days until the shoemaker's shelves were filled with wonderful shoes that no one had ever seen before. Soon, his little shop was crowded with customers and prospered like never before. One day, the shoemaker and his wife sat by the fire. "We shall have to learn who has been helping us," the shoemaker said to his wife. "We could hide behind the closet in your workroom to find out who is helping us," suggested the wife. That night, when the clock struck 12, the shoemaker and his wife heard some noise. 2 tiny men carrying a bag of tools were squeezing beneath a crack under the door. Their clothing was old and worn out, which made the shoemaker and his wife very sad. They were helping the shoemaker in making shoes, but they didn't have any for themselves. The shoemaker's wife said, Those little elves have done so much for us. We must make some gifts for them.
Yes,
Said the shoemaker. We can make them some shoes and clothes that will fit them. The shoemaker and his wife worked until dawn and laid the presents out on the workbench. Then they hid behind the closet and waited to see the elves. Just as before, the elves appeared again and jumped onto the bench to begin the work. They saw all the presents and began to laugh and shout with joy. They wore the clothes and shoes and made another pair of shoes for the shoemaker and then disappeared beneath the door, never to be seen again. The shoemaker did indeed continue to prosper, but he and his wife always remember the good elves who had helped them during their hard times. Hope you like my story. Thank you to listening my stories every day. Kindly subscribe my channel for more interesting stories. Bye for now.